Good morning, everyone. This is Toyin Umesiri. I'm super excited that you're here today. And I have a special topic. I'm kind of actually going off from just the regular, trade with Africa, international trade conversation, and just talking about something that I feel would connect more because a few of you have been reaching out and asking me questions. I've been taking some interviews. And because of those questions, I feel like, okay, let me just speak today and talk about, how to pivot with what's going on out there with COVID-19. A lot of jobs have been disrupted, people's lives have been disrupted, and even for me as a business owner, I'm having to adjust. So a lot of questions have kind of leaned towards that. So I want to share that with you today. Just a few things. I also have to apologize that you're going to be hearing some drilling and some noise in the background. The last 3 days, there's been a lot of work being done on the siding of my house. So pretty much they're right there outside the window. So I want to apologize ahead of time. Okay. So again, good morning. I see you, Rob. Good morning. Thank you so much. So, it's just amazing how for me, just reflecting on my own journey, because during this COVID-19, it's allowed me to just slow down because I was just running really fast and trying to build a company and just going. But with COVID-19, I think a lot of us have been forced to slow down, to take a moment to just reflect. And for me, I've also had the opportunity to reflect with my own personal journey. In fact, a lot of people that follow me may not even understand or realize that I built a solid career in corporate life for over a decade, a pretty deep, solid, successful career that now they only know me with what I'm doing today, which is fine, which means it's working, like the message is working, the branding and the marketing means it makes sense for people in terms of what we're solving for, the solutions we're providing. Like if people only think about me in terms of what I'm doing today. So yay, that's good. But it's kind of interesting as well that I do have a background. I do have a life before all of this. And people have been reaching out. I know someone reached out who is trying to pivot and say, okay, I want to move into international trade, Toyin. I see what you're doing. How did you do it? What have you done? And all of that. So I shared some advice personally, in a private phone conversation. But I just felt, what? COVID-19, there's so many more people out there that has been deeply, deeply, deeply impacted by this. So why don't I just share it publicly and see if this helps anybody else instead of just one or few people that know me personally. So I'm saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I see Miss Telma. Hi, Telma. I see Ubong from Accra, Ghana. Good morning. Please, do drop a comment. So for those who have been following since I started this LinkedIn Live and this, I know I'm going live even on different platforms. But basically, I want to use the first 10, 15 minutes to share what I have on my mind. And then the second half to listen to you if you have specific questions. So just drop a comment, keep it clean. And I've also figured out a few new tricks with the setup I have here that is going to make it more interactive as well. Okay, good. So how do you pivot from a corporate career to entrepreneurship? Because to be clear, those two paths, they are completely, totally different. There are skill sets that you require to be, so there are some skill sets that you need for both, meaning if you're good at if you have certain skills, it lays a solid foundation for you to be successful in a corporate space or even in entrepreneurship. So skills like EQ, emotional quotient, like in terms of being able to connect with people, right? To understand people, to understand what people need and being able to deliver that. So if you're in corporate life, it's the same thing. Your supervisor, your coworkers, your colleagues, your organization, you being able to understand the system you're in and what that system needs from you and what you need from that system in terms of, I want to advance my career in corporate, right? So I better understand how I can on, I can apply my skills, I can apply my talent. I also need to understand where this company is going so I can position myself to be a part of that. So that's a skill set that even in entrepreneurship, you even need it more in entrepreneurship because it's tied to your livelihood, right? So if you cannot connect with people, if you cannot solve real problems, you're going to be really, truly challenged in entrepreneurship. So that would be a foundational skill that I would say everybody should have, right? So if you need books on EQ, on just empathy and connecting with people, you need that for real. Like any career you pick, you do need EQ. But there are some layers to things that would help you in corporate versus entrepreneurship. For entrepreneurship, you do need resilience because there are so for corporate, your life is pretty much it's easy. I'm telling people that, if you have a choice to pick corporate or entrepreneurship, please stay in corporate. If you're not passionate about a cause or you're not trying to solve something mega big, you just want to live a good life, you just want to provide for your family and just be good, live good, corporate is the place for you. Because when you move into entrepreneurship, it's a different ball game. Something else has to kick in for you to keep going, right? Something deeper has to sit deep within you for you to really be on the entrepreneurship path, because you're going to have so many reasons to stop. You're going to have so many reasons to pack your bag and say, "Hey, I'm going, I'm going back." But so resilience and a passion for what it is you're trying to solve for is what would help you last in that space. So that's something. So for me, if you're right now just sitting and saying, okay, where do I even start from? Number one, I would say if you're in corporate today, take on as much responsibility as you can. Because I tell people you need to build muscle, right? You need to acquire some skills, and it's going to help you, in the future if you decide to go into entrepreneurship. So that's one thing I used to do. I used to be that person that would raise my hand and I'll go to vice president, or I'll say, I want that project. Put me on that project. And I became that person where the mega projects that people didn't want, the troubled project that was going down this, downhill, that were the projects they would now say, oh, Toyin solved before, let's call on her. And that allowed me to take on a lot of responsibility. So I was solving projects that had nothing to do with my job title. A lot of times people say, oh, that's above my pay grade. Oh, I don't subscribe to that. Even when I was in corporate world, in fact, it became a time where I said, you know what, I need to move away from functional leadership, because I was in a functional space, and you find out that your organization structure will start limiting you in the sense of, oh, you're in finance, don't come and tell us what to do in procurement. And for me, with my background in SAP, everything is super connected, right? So the silos and the walls that humans have built in corporate, actually we're slowing people down, right? Because systems that are integrated, that are connected, and even today, I'm sure people are seeing it, that silos need to be broken down. And for me, those were the things I was always trying to do, going against that. It got me into trouble a few times, but hey, I had some leaders that would be like, go for it, Toyin, just go, you've got our back. But anyway, so for me, I was always looking to solve problems in corporate space. And that's the same mindset you have to build into entrepreneurship. You always have to be solving something. You always have to be looking at, hey, just because we've always done it this way doesn't mean we have to continue this way. Just because the world has always run this way doesn't mean it needs to keep running that way. So that mindset of disruptive thinking, not in a negative way, but in an innovative way, to say, because if you're always doing what used to be, what everybody's doing, then you cannot carve a niche for yourself in entrepreneurship. People are not going to see, okay, if there are 5 of you doing the same thing, then I better go with this person that has been out there for 10, 20 years, right? Where you are the new kid on the block. What do you know that they don't know? So in entrepreneurship, you need to really be bold, to make a statement and to claim that you want to solve XYZ for this group of people. That's when people start taking you seriously. Also, when you think about corporate, I tell people the moment you decide that you're considering entrepreneurship, that's not the time to pack your load and leave. No, I would tell you, you need to be smart in doing a bunch of research. That's the first. Do research in the space you're trying to build a business in. Learn as much as you can while you still have the safety net of your current corporate career, right? That's the time to go for conferences, whether now that we're home, attend virtual meetings, go into that world and start learning what it is that make people succeed or successful in that space. I remember when I was Walmart, even when I was exploring, trade with Africa and all of that, I pretty much started from where I was. I even remember, looking at, okay, Walmart International, Africa, do I just change my desk and stay with the company and move into this space? I want to solve for Africa. And I remember applying for jobs, even within the company. And there was a meeting particular with one of my leaders. And I was like, hey, what can I do? Should I become an expatriate? Would you send me to Africa? I mean, I was pretty much bent on doing something. I didn't know exactly what it was. And that would bring me to another thing you need to do. You'll be amazed how people will help you if you let them know what you're trying to solve for. I think there's a mindset where people want to protect. There's this protectionist mindset of my ideas, this. But what I have found is ideas get better and you can refine your idea when you engage and interact more with people. So when you have a solution, you think this is the solution. As you start interacting with people, oh no, that's not the solution. They're actually saying something else. And you interact with another group of people and be like, oh no, I need to expand. So one of the things is if you've never shared your idea, then your idea is always going to be small, right? Because that's it's only what's in your head you're thinking about. Your idea is always going to be small. But when you start interacting with people and asking people what they need, what you can help them to accomplish, all of a sudden your idea starts growing. And that's what has happened for me. That's what's true in my space, is because we are now solving such a massive, we're now providing such massive solutions, and we're having such an impact on so many diverse group of people, is because my conversations has been diverse. I've spoken to investors, to political leaders of different countries. I've spoken to regular people on the street. I've spoken to so many people. I've engaged in dialogue with amazing, incredible people all over the world. That's so my solutions reflect those conversations, right? My solutions as an entrepreneur reflect what I can solve for those people I've engaged with. So if you're trying to move from corporate to entrepreneurship, start with talking to people, right? The people you just start with interviewing people, connecting with stakeholders, asking them questions, be curious, because sometimes we think we know everything, but we don't. And you'll be amazed what that conversation can open your mind to. And because of that reason is actually why even in my job today, I've created and built communities. I've built platforms and events because I realized that one way you can grow your business, whether it's internationally or locally or regionally, is that you have to be in community with people of similar mind. Like if you're in one corner and you're solving something, you're always going to solve a small. You're always your idea will remain small and your solution will remain small, because the people who need that solution, you've not spoken to them, you've not engaged them, they don't even know you exist. So I see a lot of protectionist mindset, and I'm telling you, for me, it hasn't worked. But if you want to solve big, challenging problems, then you've got to open up yourself to that community, whether it's social media or whatever it is. You've got to open up and start talking to people. And one thing I can say that there's a parallel in what I did in corporate and what I'm doing in entrepreneurship, and I've thought about this lately, is the fact that when I was in corporate, there's something we used to do, we call it requirements gathering, right? I remember one of my mega projects. I've done so many of those projects. When you have a background in SAP and you're building global solutions, and SAP is one solution, but you have to fit everybody into that solution. You now find out that you have to talk to Europe, you have to talk to Canada, you have to talk to around US, you have to talk to people in Mexico, like because of the global brands, and then bring all of them to agree on a solution and say, hey, what are the gaps? This is what the software does. You want this, you want that, you want that, but this is all I'm going to give you. We might customize this, we might customize that, but hey, this is what you're getting. 80% of what you're going to get is this, but 20% we can adjust. So those are things I've had to do so many times, and it's no different for my job today. Is that I call it my requirements gathering, is when I'm talking to so many stakeholders when it comes to international trade, and I'm saying, hey, this is what the world has to offer. You want this, you want that, but you've got to apply. Like last week I was talking to someone in Africa, and I said, hey, the global market is not going to change for you, okay? The international trade rules and all of that, they're not going to change it for you. This is how the world works. So you have to accommodate and fit yourself and learn it, equip yourself, take training if you want to be a part of that world. So that's something that I've seen translate in terms of the negotiations I used to do with my business counterpart and business customers, as we used to talk about it, in terms of negotiating with them and say, yay, I know what you used to do in the old system. Great. I'm listening to you right now, but in the new world order, guess what? You're not going to have all of that. This is what you get, but I can help you customize. So that's a parallel that people may not realize in entrepreneurship is your business really is not about you. And I recognize that it's not about Toyin, but it's about the value that Toyin and Nazaru and Trade with Africa and Omoba built and all of the things I've built. It's the value that they offer groups of people in the world. That's something you have to understand. So speak with people. You'll be amazed as you engage with people, as they see how genuine you are. They will be willing to help you. Even if they cannot help you, they'll be willing to introduce you. And that's what has happened. Please don't I've seen another trend where people they've not invested in a relationship, but they want to tap and take something from a relationship. That's when you see random DMs here and there and people are like this. No, I am saying you've got to first humble yourself to approach people from a place of, I want to learn or I want to serve you, than demanding, be my mentor. The world doesn't work that way. I feel sometimes that people have been tricked into behaviors that doesn't help them be successful. I don't know why. I don't know where they're learning this from. I really don't know. But I tell you, if you invest time in building relationships, those relationships will last longer, whether in corporate or in entrepreneurship. So I do have more to share, but I want to see what people are trying to say right now on the chat and just acknowledge again. So if you're just joining, today I kind of deviated from my day job to just talk about entrepreneurship in terms of moving from corporate to entrepreneurship. What are the skills you need to consider? What are the transferable skills? What should you be thinking about? How do you address or approach entrepreneurship as well? So I still have a few things to share, but I see comments down below. I see Jacqueline saying Toyin. Okay, I told you I just learned a trick. Let me see if it works. It works. So with this system, you can actually highlight a particular question. In the past, I would be, describing and trying to read it out. But I've been learning out, reading tutorials on this setup. And I saw somebody do that. I was like, oh, that's so easy. So Jacqueline, you said, Toyin, you love this topic. Thank you so much. I feel like maybe I have some things to share on that topic because I'm leaving it out after building a solid career in corporate. And now I'm growing my business from scratch. Okay, I see Rob. Thank you so much for your kind words. You said, yes. You said you've seen, let me show that. Rob said you've seen folks try to start from nothing and don't get it. Toyin's famous invent. She said Toyin's famous invent on view. Yeah, you're making me blush. You can't see it, but It's a little bit embarrassing, but this is what I do. Wherever I am, I show up. If you put me in a cubicle in one corner with no windows, before the next 3 months, people would know I exist. Because I'll tell you, for examples, okay, since we're talking about corporate, there was once a leader. I don't know if she's watching, but there was a leader that came into the organization. She was hired into the organization, but they did not give her any title. Okay, they play some tricks in corporate sometimes. They pretty much said, this is the person. She's here. At a later date, we're going to announce who she is. Okay, and they just gave her a small desk and she was just sitting there. And I would be passing and seeing her. And my approach is I'm curious. I want to know what's going on around me. So I approached her and said, hey, I won't say her name. Hey, how are you? This, my name is this. I see you're new to the organization. If you ever need anything, I can help you. This. And she was like, great. Because when you're a newbie, nobody gives you for your newbie, right? So I pretty much reached out and supported her, and I kind of befriended her in an interesting way to say, hi, oh, and if she had any, I'll just check in on her from time to time. So weeks passed. See, she joined without a title, right? And then one day, they finally decided to announce why she was there. She became a vice president, and half of the entire organization was moved under her. And I was like, hey, my friend, I didn't know you were going to be that important. So that the very day they made that announcement, I met her in the ladies' room, and I was like, wink, congratulations. Wow, you're now a big, I can't even talk to you anymore. We were laughing. Guess what happened? That day, there was a line in front of our new office. People were like, congratulations, congratulations. I was like, funny people, right? But guess what? Because I connected with her when she was without a title, our friendship lasted. That even when I got into those troubles, remember those troubles I said I got into in corporate, I'll just run to our office. I'll be like, ooh, your peers are giving me some problems, man. What should I say? What should I say? And she'll give me some tricks. She will draft something. This is what you should say. That is what you should say. I'm watching out. I'm looking out for you. So that's me, is that EQ, when you connect with people that have substance wherever they are in your organization. And that's one thing I look for. Because to be honest with you guys, I've met people that have titles, but boy, I don't want to be them. I don't want to be them. I don't respect their belief system. And I don't think that they worked to get there, because I believed truly in putting in an effort, right? Not just somebody liking you and say, oh, because a lot of times, okay, I won't go into that topic. That's not the topic of today. Let me stick to what I'm talking about, because I have a lot of stories. I spent over a decade in corporate America. But anyway, so yes, Rob, thank you for that. It's because when I was in Bentonville, I showed up, I connected with people. I was really, truly curious about other people's story. And that has also helped me in my entrepreneurship journey, is that I try to listen, because you can't solve in a vacuum. Like if you're solving something here and then you're trying to offer it to people, you didn't carry them along, you did not ask if that's really what they wanted, then what are we? We're just building nothing, right? It won't hold, it won't last and everything. So thank you for being kind, but I just try to show up. I just try to connect with people, no matter who they are. It doesn't even matter what title they are. I just want people of character, people that have substance, people that care, and they exist all through the rank, from entry level up the chain, right? But if you're somebody that you're always looking for, oh, who is the senior vice president? Yeah, you find them, but there are some of them you just talk to and be like, sorry, no, you're not my type of person. But you have to be able to walk away from that as well. So thank you. More responsibility, yes. Rob also said, I need to get used to this. He also said more responsibility, yes. As an entrepreneur, you're going to be doing so much work. I've never worked, you work really because nobody's helping you to build your business is your baby. It's yours first before it's somebody else's responsibility. So every skill you can throw at it, everything whenever you can roll up your sleeves and do the real work, that's going to help you. So many people don't know that Toyin used to be a programmer. Yes, yes, yes. In my old life, I used to program ABAP. I used to program C sharp. I used to do configuration. So I am good at two things, and that's one thing you're going to need to do in entrepreneurship. Be able to be strategic in terms of engage with executives, global leaders. I mean, my job requires me to talk to like ministers and people, those people, the important people. But if that's all you do, you're not moving anything, because you now need to run back and deliver on your promise, and it requires you to be tactical, right? To then execute. Nobody's going to help you execute if you're an entrepreneur. You can start and say, hey, I have money, I'm going to hire everybody. But pretty much, if you're hiring people to do everything, then your cash flow, what's going to happen to your cash flow? So for me, the more skill sets you can acquire while you're still in the corporate world, pretty much the things you can do for yourself, it's going to save you at least at the early stages of your entrepreneurship journey. When you think about Jeff Bezos and all the entrepreneurs, big time ones, even Bill Gates, you look at them today and you say, oh yes, now today they don't need to do all of that work. But go back to their first 5 years. You won't. What it took them to build from scratch, I bet they were the ones doing the shipping, the packaging, the coding, all of those things in their first 5, even maybe 10 years. So if you're going into entrepreneurship, please don't go in with, well, you can, but I'll say from my experience, it doesn't last if you think you can hire your way out of doing things for yourself. I'm telling you, there are times I'm like, I wish people can do this. But at the end of the day, when you're still so new, don't be shocked or surprised when you have to roll up your sleeves. And for me, I've always done that. In corporate space, I'll be like, yeah, this is the strategy. This is the 3-year roadmap. I'll talk to the exec. This is what we're doing. And then the very next moment, I'll go to our frontline associates and programmers, and I'll be like, okay, I want to take that strategy, and then we need to now execute on our promise. It's not enough for us to just make this promise to a customer, make this promise to your client, make this promise to your stakeholders, and then sit down and say, who is going to do the work? Right? So that's something where when you're transitioning from corporate, it was, and it's also a struggle, especially if you were in management. So I was in management, I had a team, all those things they talk about, delegation and all of, I was very good with that and growing them. But the day you sign and say, I'm not doing a corporate anymore, I need to go build my business, you lose all of that. You lose all of that. In fact, the things I used to do where you had all the solutions, all the tools, like in corporate, you have the tools you need to be successful. As part of your even performance review, they'll ask you, as your leader provided everything you need to be successful. In corporate, you are always going to lean towards, oh yes. And even if you say no, somebody else has the responsibility to help you be successful. Well, in entrepreneurship, it's the other way. No, I don't have everything I need to be successful, but hey, I have to be creative. Hey, I need to partner. And that's another thing I'll talk about, partnership. You're going to grow faster if you see what you're doing as bigger than yourself, and you're willing to open it for other people to hook on to your wagon, because you're going in one direction and you might be driving the train, but hopefully you can allow people to hook on to you, and you can do choo-choo, we're going, who wants to join this train? And that's what I have had to do. And that's why in such a short time, the impact that this work is having is real. It's real because what I'm building is bigger than me. I'm not so closed-minded to think, oh, I don't want you to be. No, in fact, I've started even teaching people how to be successful. So I launched a trade facilitation training when I realized that Okay. When I'm telling people trade with Africa, I realize that people are saying, yes, 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 we hear you, Toyin, we hear you. How do we do it? I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm having to teach people, and part of the testimony, because when you listen and you see the people you're trying to lead or serve, they need a particular solution, then you get to have the honor of delivering that solution. And when I released that a few weeks ago, the sign up went through the roof, that now I'm having to create a waiting list because you don't want the classes to be too big. I'm keeping it small, and now I'm having to develop like a waiting list and getting people to sign up so I can do, maybe every month I'll do the training, because it's people connected with that message, because I listened to them and I realized that they are telling me, Toyin, over the last couple of years, you've been telling us trade with Africa, commercial opportunities, but we're struggling to see the practical side of what it is you're trying to do. So for me, I could decide to say, yeah, that's your problem. But I went ahead to say, okay, I think I can help. I've built my own business. I'm building my own brands, my skincare line with the same thing I'm telling you. So what can I do to solve that? So I've started creating like training and all of that. So I think entrepreneurship requires us to be humble when we realize it's not about us, but it's about the people we're looking forward to serve. So that's something you really have to step outside of yourself. And even in one of the trainings on business development and business modeling, you have to understand your customer's pain points. And that's the pain point you're trying to address, or the gains they're trying to accomplish. So for you, you are at a service to them. So the parallel is when you're in corporate as well, you should be serving your business customers. You should be serving your leadership, because your leaders are trying to go somewhere. And you need to hook on to that vision they have. And you have to understand how your skills can help them get there faster. And that's what I've always done. In fact, I have so many stories. 5 years ago, when Walmart was trying to solve for grocery pickup, I saw that. I tested it. I was an early adopter. Like before, when it was just a pilot where a group of people were trying to sell it to the leaders, that this is the future for Walmart, omni-channel. And people did not buy it, but I bought in. I saw it. I'm a visionary. I could see it. I wrote an article about this, and I said 5 reasons Walmart pickup is a game changer, or something like that. Was 5 years ago. And that article, I shared it with my leader, one of my leaders. I don't know if he wants me to say his name, but I shared it, and it was like, Toyin. He forwarded it to his peers, and that thing blew up the chain enough that they said, Toyin, would you be open to putting this on record in a video? We would do an internal marketing video and an external video, if you're open to it. Because what you've just crystallized for us is actually what we're even trying to sell to our leadership, that's the future. So you've just done that for us by putting this down on paper. I wrote 5 things. And they were like, would you? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And they flew in a movie director, I think from Hollywood and all of those things, to my home. And we used my words to describe Walmart grocery pickup. This is it, da 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 da. Again, this wasn't that's why I'm saying solve. Look, understand where your company is trying to go to, and see how you can be of value to their journey. And I was of value to them enough that my video, I believe, I was told later that my video was played to, I think, the officers or whatever. And that's how they got the funding to roll this thing out to the rest, because it was just a baby idea. Because a lot of ideas come and they die because nobody buys into it. When you're in a big company and you're in corporate space, it's not the best ideas. Hear me well. What I have figured out in corporate is it's not the best ideas that gets the votes. It's the best campaigned idea. And that's a parallel in entrepreneurship. If I can draw that parallel, is that in corporate, I found when I was in corporate that if I had a brilliant idea when I was in strategy, and this big organization is going this way, and I'm trying to say, hey guys, can we that nobody's willing to drop their work and buy into your ideas. So it became my own job to campaign. I became a good campaign manager for my own ideas. Yes, and I have lots of story. And that's the same thing that in entrepreneurship allows me to be successful, to say Toyin can have a brilliant idea that can save the world. But the world is moving in a certain direction. If you cannot communicate your idea, if you cannot secure buy-in, if you cannot be persistent in telling your story and getting people to understand why what you are trying to do can add value to them, if you're not willing to do that work as an entrepreneur, then your idea could be the best thing since sliced bread. Nobody's biting it. Nobody. So when you think about people like Elon Musk, why Elon Musk is extremely successful is because that guy is a master at tweeting his ideas. Even before they've done any project, he will tell you, I'm going to the moon. And people will be like, can you get to the moon? But you don't know that just by him saying, I'm going to the moon, he's securing investors. It's that you've got to master as an entrepreneur how to tell your story, how to engage with people, how to share, how to get buy-in, and how to carry people along. If you cannot do that, whether in corporate or in entrepreneurship, you will get frustrated. Have any of you, being a part of those conversations that says, hey, why is our company doing this? They should be doing that. Why is our company doing that? Why is the world this way? We should be doing this. All those conversations in the cubicle, they're just conversations. If you really believe in your idea, be ready to campaign for it and get the votes. And those were the things I did that helped me incorporate and is now helping me as an entrepreneur. I remember, and you also have to understand the social hierarchy structure, whether in corporate or in entrepreneurship. Who's the boss? If you're writing a proposal to an organization, you want to solve a problem, you need to understand, from a sales standpoint, who is the decision maker, who is going to sign the check, because sometimes they are different. The person that is going to use your solution could be different from the person that has to approve the spend. The person may be sitting somewhere in procurement. So you have to equip that person that needs the solution. You have to give them the right information so that internally they can help sell your ideas, and then you can get paid as well. I remember even in corporate, there were some things I felt needed to happen, or there were some conversations I felt needed to go mainstream in the company. And this is what I ended up doing. We used to have like a all hands meeting, right? And I needed 15 minutes in that all hands, because I felt there was some information that needed to go directly to the front line, and I couldn't do one-on-one. So I went to the senior vice president that owned that meeting, and I say, hey, this is what I feel we need to do. There's this particular knowledge. People at the front line, people are saying, where's the company going? Where's the strategy? And because I work with you, I know we do have a strategy. I own the 3-year roadmap that I developed for your team. At your peer level, all of you understand where this company is going. But the frontline associates, they are all trying to figure out what you guys are doing. They don't know if their skills is relevant. They don't know if a year from now, they will still be in their own seat. So how do you bridge that communication? And I said, hey, I need 15 minutes of your 1-hour monthly meeting. And it was like 15 minutes. I said, yes, that 15 minutes, I want to use it to interview your direct reports in front of everybody. And he was like, really? I said, just trust me. I don't need you to do this work. I will do this work. I just need you to say, I approve. And he said, okay, I trust you, Toyi. You have 15 minutes of my monthly meeting. That was it. Once I got that 15 minutes, then I went to everybody and I said, hey, this person has approved. This is what we are doing. And they were like, how can you get 15 minutes for the next 4 months? Who are you? Like, what? I'm like, it doesn't matter. You can go and talk to him. He already approved. Now, and I was able to engage his direct report. You are going to speak. You are going to speak. You are going to speak about your work. And that was one thing I was able to do, is selling an idea, understanding the social structure, the hierarchy, and knowing who you need to go to for what in entrepreneurship, that's going to help you as well. So if you're doing that in corporate, you can easily translate it out as well. And I know I've talked a lot. So let me move on to some of the questions we're seeing as well. Erica says, great point. People are often afraid their ideas will be stolen or people will respond negatively. We should be strategic, true, though, yeah, about who we share our ideas with. Absolutely, absolutely. What I have found is, yes, I've made some mistake in sharing things with the wrong people, but I'll tell you that's probably 5% of the results. You know, it's maybe 5%. And at the end of the day, the reward far outweighs the risk. The reward of sharing actually expands your understanding, expands your mindset, and you're able to solve bigger. So let me give you an example. Okay. When I wanted to do my first Trade with Africa Business Summit, at that point, I already had a strong network. But what I was trying to solve for was, and the next edition is next weekend. So I'm super excited. We are now at our third year. But when this was just an idea, after talking to investors, global leaders, different people, I realized that, oh my goodness, these people are not on the same page. I need to bring them all into the room. They all want the same thing. Everybody wants trade, but they're not talking to each other. And in the world of trade, you've got to collaborate, you've got to negotiate, you've got to be at the table to even engage. It's great that in Washington, D.C., they're saying we want to trade with Africa. It's great that in Abuja, Nigeria, they're saying, oh, we want to trade with America. But if those people want to trade, but they are not in the room, and they're not saying, what are the opportunities? What can we do? What do you have to sell me? What can I sell to you? If they're not talking, then nothing happens. And that's why the last 20, 30 years, everybody has been saying, oh, trade, US-Africa trade. But the numbers are not moving. In fact, they're on a decline. That's one of the reasons that Trade with Africa was developed. But Trade with Africa Business Summit was not designed in a vacuum. The design that I put out there was based on what the stakeholders said they wanted to see. So, for example, Tyson Foods, the former immediate past CEO, Donnie Smith, I sat with him and I saying, Donnie, this is what I want to do. What would you, Donnie, that has led $40 billion chicken poultry business, what would you like to see us talk about during Trade with Africa? And Donnie Smith told me, Toyin, you've got to go find an economist that can explain to us why we should even think about Africa. Like, why Africa? What are the numbers? What are the where is the trend? Where is Africa going from an economic growth standpoint? I need that. I was like, oh, okay. You, as the former CEO of the $40 billion agriculture business, want an economist that is well regarded to talk to you about Trade with Africa. Check, got it. I'll do that for you. Okay, and so we were able to get the World Bank chief economist on Africa. So not just any economist is in charge of all the other economists that work at the World Bank, and Dr. Albert Sufak was able to fly into Bentonville for our first event. But I wouldn't have known that that's what people wanted to see. Another person I spoke to. So when you are designing as an entrepreneur, make sure you are designing for real people. Another person was Scott Ford. Scott Ford was the CEO of a telecoms business. He sold it to Verizon for $29 billion. And then he took all his investment and poured it into Rwanda. He's the single largest private investor in Rwanda. And here am I, having coffee with Scott Ford. And I'm saying, Scott, I want to build Trade with Africa Business Summit here in Bentonville. And I want you to be my keynote speaker. Would you do that for me? And he was like, I can get to somebody else. I said, no, what you've done with West Rock Coffee is what I'm saying is possible. And this is what I'm trying to do. And he asked me a question. Toyin, okay, why are you bringing people together? At the end of that event, what would they learn from it? And he grilled me. He grilled me. I had to answer all these questions. And based on all the feedback I got from all of these people, I was able to design. And that's what has allowed us to be successful. I'm not designing things for Toyin. all the work that I'm doing is not for Toyin. It's for people out there that are telling me we don't have this, because the topic I'm focused on is an underserved space. So for me, I don't just want to solve in a vacuum. So for example, next week, the needs of the people are more tactical. So for us, we're having our first virtual experience. So for me, in the past, I would have 50, 40 speakers coming in a 2.5 day. This time around, I'm bringing it down to about 10 speakers. Why? Because for this year, I'm going deeper into Q&A. So you're going to be able to ask. So for me, it's more of deeper access to the speakers today, not just somebody standing out there and giving you a speech and then you clap and they're gone and you don't have access to them. No, this particular one, the way I'm designing it is going to be more conversation, more Q&A, more access to the speakers. Like if we're bringing them virtually, the value for this year is that we're going to poke them. We're going to drill them. So if you're my speaker and you're on this call, be prepared. We want to squeeze your orange. We want to ask you, how did you do it? What challenges? What opportunity? We are going to ask you a lot of questions. And people have been signing up. So that's what's different this year, is that in the past, we would load it up with executives from all over the world. But this year, I'm very selective and we're designing it based on the Trade with Africa framework. And I'm more particular this year to say we want to have rich, deep dive, and we want to poke you and want to learn from you at a deeper level this year. So I think in conclusion, I still see a few more questions, but in conclusion from my side is, don't solve in a vacuum as an entrepreneur. Don't. It's at least for me, my experience is I'm more open. There's a trade-off. To be honest with you, what would Toyin really want? Toyin would want to be sitting in one corner by herself and just living a big, large, living her life without having to teach people, without having to engage people. But I'm saying, if this is the path that I'm creating for myself, and this is the future I desire, I'm actually saying I want to work with people. I want to engage with people. I want to solve with people. So I cannot isolate myself and at the same time say I want to help as many people as I can with my services and my solutions. So that's what's different. Yeah, Jacqueline said we have to make sure we don't feel entitled to people's time. I learned that the hard way. Thank you. And that's why I said an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, has to be humble enough to serve, right? If you cannot serve people, then please don't go into entrepreneurship, because people don't exist to serve you. A business exists to serve people and to help them remove a pain point that they are facing, right? Or to help them accomplish a gain. Even in the luxury prestige space, you are still helping people feel good, right? They want to attain a particular status in the world that we live in. And your watch, your dress, your nice shoe, your Louis Vuitton shoe, or your Gucci bag makes them feel a certain way. So you are still giving them something that is of value, because the day they stop seeing value in what you're doing, or the day, like COVID-19 has done, their value system changes, it's going to have a direct impact on your work. That's what we're seeing right now, is that the people you were serving before, their value system has shifted. Now it's survival mode. They're in survival mode. So you better be serving them with something. That's why you see perfume companies changing to hand sanitizers. You'll be like, I didn't see that coming. Yes, because if you're still telling them to spray my perfume, they're like, no, but thanks. I'm trying to remove germs from my body. Do you have something for that? If you do, I'll listen to you. If you don't, see you. So that's what's going on, guys. That's what's going on, is that entrepreneurship requires us to be able to bow enough to tie somebody else's shoe, to say, I'll do that for you. Okay. Someone Tibago says also give before you start asking for favor. I'm telling you, I need to give you a clap. I don't know. Like if you were right here, I'll give you I5. Tobago, people, 98%, that's Toyin's number of the people in the world, they are takers. So if you want to be different, you need to be in that 2%. Again, that's Toyin's statistics. So you need to be that 2% that is given. Give. There's a book called Jab Jab Hook or something like that. Give. Even on social media, give. Build trust. And when people trust you, you can then say, hey, just so you know, my event is next week. Just so you know, I have some training. If you're interested, check it out. If not, I still love you anyway. So that's it. People don't owe us anything. We have to give, we have to serve. Absolutely. Yes, Rob said the same thing. Fantastic. Okay, I see here, Bemini said, when you work in corporate with a strong sense of ownership, it gives you a softer landing in entrepreneurship. Thank you. I tell people, bloom where you are. Don't just grow. People say, oh, grow where you are. No, bloom. Because one thing that has also helped me is that my reputation when I was in corporate, it actually followed me. It has followed me to what I'm doing today. Enough that even when I left Walmart and I was still trying to solve this, I was able to go back to them and say, hey guys, you're still part of this journey of international trade, right? This is what I'm trying to solve for. Can you come speak at my event? Can you be a sponsor? Can you be a part of this? Because when you see what you're doing in India, in China, in Latin America, you're still part of international trade, right? Can we work together as we're moving forward? If I had a negative reputation, if my leaders back then could not engage with, in fact, my first event, my immediate supervisor was there in person, that even as the event was ending, the 2.5-day event, he was the first person to give me high five. He was no longer my supervisor, but he came to my event and he gave me high five. And he knows, I don't know if he's watching, Olga, thank you for that. To say, Toyin, you told us you believed so much in this and you went out and you did it, we support you. But if I did not serve my leadership well, if I was a troublemaker, if I were somebody that was always going, I'm not doing that, when I want to do my own thing, they would not show up for me. They wouldn't show up. And even till today, the relationships that I built back then, whether in Whirlpool, whether in Walmart, wherever, they are still part of my network today. And I tell people, wherever you are, show up. Show up. Don't burn bridges. Just show up as you are. Be authentic. I'm here today. 5 years from now, I might figure out I want to do something else, but hopefully I'll see how I can carry as many people as I can as I evolve, right? As I evolve. So please, wherever you are right now, whoever you're serving, serve them with all of your heart. Show up for them. Serve your leadership. Just do a fantastic job. Your reputation will speak for you. Because if I did not have I won't be able to. Because if those people are watching me now, and some of them are, they'll be like, Toyin, Toyin, what is Toyin saying? We know her very well. We know her more than all of you. But you don't want that. You want to be authentic, true and true. And you want people to be able to vouch for you. So, Demini, absolutely, please, work. Because now, if my own team, if I did not serve somebody else, how can I expect people to serve me well? So anyway, I love that. Rob also said, collaborate, partner. Yes, absolutely. The way you sell an idea makes a world of difference. Yes, as an entrepreneur, we talk about social media marketing. I know I developed the training and I talked about social media for your business. Is because social media, the power of social media is real. Okay. I see here, what is your most critical advice for African diaspora entrepreneurs who have eyes on Africa and are increasing opportunities but are having doubts about making the move. Okay. Ah, there has to, so one thing I say is when you have an idea, a lot of times African in diaspora particularly, they have these conversations within the community that why is why is this person not investing in cocoa? Why is this person not doing cashew? Why is this, you have all, you can see the opportunities, but you believe it's for somebody else. The day you wake up and realize that the opportunities you are seeing is for you, that's so even when you see those opportunities, you may not have the solution, you may not know the path to creating that opportunity or to pursuing that opportunity. That's step two. Step one is, do you believe that the opportunity and the potential you're seeing about Africa is for you? Or do you think it's for somebody else? That's the first thing you have to realize. The day you realize it's for you, the next thing you then say is, wow, how? How can I make that opportunity a reality? But a lot of times, people are trying to answer the questions of how before they actually even believe. You can't mix that up. Because one thing I say, and I think that's my newsletter for this week that I'm thinking about, is the story of the California gold rush. You can believe there is gold in California. You can talk about it all you want. But until you're ready to pack up your load and visit California, and not just visit, go and buy the spade, the axe, the pickaxe, all the equipment you need to dig for gold, pan for gold. Until you're ready to do that work, all you'll be doing is talking about it. So there's no easy way to drilling for gold or drilling for oil or creating wealth through entrepreneurship. The first thing, you have to believe that opportunity is for you. And the second thing is, you can now say how. And the moment you can say how, if you can transition to how, that's when your eyes will become more enlightened. That's when you start seeing that all the content that Nazaru and Toyin has been putting out there has been showing you how. That we've been telling you what other people have been doing, that I've been featuring stories and I've been inviting you on this journey. That I know nobody's going to teach you how, but we have been committing ourselves to share and teach you how. So the work that I do is for those people that are trying to figure out how. How do I trade with Africa? How do I build a business that connects to Africa? How? The moment you shift into how, that's when you start valuing me and my work. But I know a lot more people out there, they are still doubting. They're still, but as long as you're doubting, you're not going to transition into seeking solutions. The moment you start seeking solutions, you start finding solutions. That's what I would say is, it's a mindset shift. But as long as you're sitting down and skeptical, and you can be skeptical for 100 years, nothing is going to change. But if you can have a belief, then you start asking how. The moment your mind shifts into how, you start seeing answers, you start seeing trends. And when you start gathering information and research and connecting and rubbing minds with other people, trust me, you're going to, before you know it, you'll be willing to take the risks that is involved. But a lot of time, people are saying, I'm not ready for the risk, so I'm not going to believe. I can't help that, right? I can't help that, because life is about faith. You are sitting in a job because one day you applied for the job. If you never applied, then you would never have gotten that job. It's the same thing. You can keep saying there's job with that company. Oh, I hear they're hiring. I hear there are noise. There are things happening. But until you write your resume and you apply for that opportunity, it's not coming. So, I'm quite direct in that sense to say, wake up. Wake up, smell the roses, and start figuring this out as well. So that would be my advice. So today has been great. I hope this content, I know I went off a little bit, but there's a lot more. But entrepreneurship, it's a different space. I think the final thing I will tell people is, even when you go into entrepreneurship, master creation of value proposition and business modeling. Master it, study it as best as you can. Because if you don't master it, you might do a lot of meaningful work that might turn out to be charity work, meaning you provide value to people, but you don't get paid for it. If that's what you want to do, then go and build a not for profit. But if you are trying to build a company, you need to be able to design valuable, like you have to have a strong value proposition that connects with the pain point of the people you're trying to serve, or you're helping them accomplish, make wealth, create wealth, be the person, a better version of themselves, enough value that they are willing to pay you top dollar for it. That's the whole essence. That's the whole essence of business. Okay. So if you're trying to go into entrepreneurship, consider that. And there's some training we've delivered in terms of sales and business modeling, is because I realized again through my interaction with people that the foundational elements of business acumen is missing. People don't know how to build a business, the mechanism of building a business. And I've done some videos in the past about wealth creation and the misconceptions people have about entrepreneurship, thinking it's immediate, thinking it's automatic, thinking that just because they want to become an entrepreneur, they can, and people start throwing money at them. It doesn't happen that way. There's a system, and once you can perfect the system and you can, build your minimum viable product and people start paying for it, then you can start thinking about scaling or automating that system. So there's a whole lot of things there. And then, invest in yourself. Books. I just bought a bunch of books now that they just arrived. I was telling my husband, I was like, oh, after my event next week, I need to go lock myself, maybe find a place for a month. And all I want to be doing is just reading books. So as an entrepreneur as well, as you're performing and delivering value, the more knowledge you can acquire, the more network you can build, the more understanding you can build, then you can offer that as well in return to your clients. So thank you so much. If you want to learn more about me, this is my personal website, www.toyinumesiri.com. I built this website because I realized that different solutions and different things that I was building was connecting with different people. And if you were only relating with me from the angle of my beauty brand, then that's all you see about me. If you're only relating in this, people are seeing different sides of Toyin. So I try to create toyinumesiri.com as kind of like the 360 of what I do, even in the faith world as well, the things I do. So my personal website is out there. Please do check it out. And if there's anything you see that connects with you, or if there's any way I can be of support, maybe you're trying to build a business and you just want to consult, or you need some business coaching, and how I hear 2 hours there might totally be a game changer for you. That's what has helped me, being able to sit at the feet of these incredible minds. The stories they've told me, the stories of resilience, of Scott Ford telling me something like, Toyin, I almost lost everything. I had to talk to my wife and my dad. Everybody thought I was crazy, but here am I now. Those stories, when I go through my own stuff, I'm like, Scott Ford has told me already to keep pushing. And I'm always emailing them. I'm like, hey, guys, and one of the things, for example, they just bought Westrock Coffee just became the world's largest roasting company. But I've heard the story from day one, how they started in Rwanda. Now they're the world's largest coffee roasting company. And I sent an email quickly to Scott. I was like, Scott, congratulations. Now I know the story ended well. The story ended well. So I pray for you that your entrepreneurship journey, your story is going to end well. If you're struggling right now, hang on, connect with a community that can encourage you through that journey. Have sponsors and people that believe in you, that will be able to cheer you on. Don't go all by yourself. You're going to need, there are days you'll be like, I'm tired, So hopefully you build a support system around you and go for it. If that's what, just go. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and stay blessed.